Hi, this is Sean with Your Work, Your Success. We're going to do things a little differently today. Normally, I record and edit all the content on this channel on my off time, on weekends and evenings. But we're in the middle of a really big project at work. We're working 6 days a week and pretty long hours. So I'm out here at lunchtime. I get 30 minutes for lunch, and you're getting 10 or 15 minutes of it. But it is a really good opportunity for me to challenge you with something, to kind of demonstrate something that is a really good idea for you. You've got to work with what you've got. Let me say it again. You've got to work with what you got. You cannot work with a fantasy. You cannot work, well, I wish things were this way or I wish things were that way. Your reality is what you've got to work with. Where you are right now and where you want to get to are not the same thing. So you've got to figure out where you are, where you want to be, and what to do to make up the difference. I first came up with this idea years ago. I heard about this bodybuilding club on a nuclear submarine. It was a magazine article, these guys had written into a magazine and said, okay, we have a bodybuilding club on a nuclear submarine. Well, I've never been on a nuclear submarine, but from anything I've seen in the movies or any of the old World War II submarines that I have been on, she ain't too big in there. It's not all that roomy. There's not a lot of room for a full weight room. Well, these guys made it work, and their point was, don't give us any excuses, everybody who's out on dry land, that you can't make it to the gym, that you've got no opportunities to work out, because these guys were making it work. And it's the same thing for all of us, isn't it? We all have a reality that we have to deal with. We all have where we are now and where we want to get to. So that's what I want you to do. The first thing I want you to do, and this is going to be your assignment. I want you to figure out what your situation is now. Where are you physically? Are you healthy? Are you sick? Are you in shape? Are you out of shape? Where are you spiritually? What are your finances like? What's your family situation like? What's your work environment like? How much education do you have? What skills do you have? All that. And I want you to write this down. Next, I want you to start to figure out where you want to be. Now, this doesn't have to be a fancy 5-year plan or anything like that. Just where do you want to be? Do you want to be working outside? Do you want to be out of debt? Do you want to have a better home life? Do you want to be better off spiritually? Work through some of these things, write those down. And then I want you to write down the difference, or what we'd call in the Army the delta. So you figure the delta between where you are right now and where you want to be. And then that is going to help you to identify the gaps that you have to fill in. You want to move into some sort of technical job like I'm in, and you think you need some education or you need some skills, well then, what skills are you going to need? What education are you going to need? You're in debt, you want to get out of debt, you want to be able to pay for a house someday? Okay, so how are you going to, what differences are there between where you are now and where you want to be? In the next episode, I'm going to give you some tools that I've learned, some free online resources for getting yourself out of debt. Okay, so if you don't have the education you think you want, or you think you need, well, I've already started to give you some tools for that. Go back through the previous episodes and start building on some of that. Start building on the idea of reading a book and find something you're interested in, and then researching that subject to start to build your ability to learn how to learn. Pick yourself some sort of skill you want, anything, and work through that process. And find out what free online resources are. And I'm going to do some future episodes on what free online resources there are for various educational opportunities. And you can't get a degree out of it, but you can definitely get the knowledge you want. Now maybe you think you don't have the opportunities. So I was driving into work this morning, kind of working through this episode, and I got thinking, you know what? If there are various jobs that maybe you're doing that you could get different experience. Here's a few examples. I've never been formally trained as a project manager. I have done some project management, and I've been involved in various projects, but I don't have an actual certification that says I'm a project manager. I know I can do it, and I have some experience. But I also have some experience that I did for free. For example, the church we used to attend, we needed a little bit of painting done outside, and we had done some painting the year before at our house. So I went to the rest of the church. I said, you know, I think we could paint this, and I volunteered to head up the project, and I put together a budget. I put together a schedule. I put together a list of resources, and organized all the volunteers, and delivered it on budget and on time. That's all project management is. I didn't get any formal recognition for this or anything like that, of course, but these are the kind of things you can do to get experience. Say you've got a job, say you're just flipping burgers, pumping gas, whatever, and you'd really like to do to move into management, move into some supervisory role. Well, talk to your boss. Talk to your boss and say, hey, you know, I'd really like to do some of these other jobs. I'd like to kind of see myself in a position like you're in later on. You know, can you give me some pointers? Can you give me some opportunities? I'm not asking to be paid anymore. I'm not asking, in fact, I'll do this on my own time. I'll do this for free because I just want to develop myself. Talk to your boss, see what kind of opportunities there are. So you've got what you can do at work, what you can do at in volunteer organizations. Even, I was thinking this was kind of silly, but say you want to put together a fancy meal, or, you know, even if it's not fancy, just like a 3-course meal. You're going to have a salad, burgers and fries, and a cake. Well, just like when you organize a project or you organize any job, like you're a plumber and you want to, you've got to take care of somebody's house. Well, you're putting together that meal. You have to figure out what you have to know. Do I understand the recipes? Do I know how to cook this stuff? Then you have to figure out the ingredients. You know, what do I have in the house? What do I still have to get? That's kind of resource management. You have to figure out the budget for it, and you have to put together a schedule. You got to bake that cake the day before, so it, you know, has time to cool off, so you can put the icing on. You can't start baking the cake at the same time as you're putting the burgers on the barbecue. So, just kind of a silly little example, but I think you get the idea that there are opportunities you can take. So just grab onto them, see where it takes you, and that's how a lot of the success I have, that's where it's come from, is hundreds of opportunities, hundreds of little choices where somebody said, hey, can you do this? Do you know how to do this? Well, I don't know how to do it, but I can figure it out. Okay, great, it's your responsibility now. You have the same opportunities. So that's your plan. Okay, so let's go over this assignment again. Be inventive with this. Do a self-assessment. Figure out where you are, where you want to be, and what's the difference? What's the delta between the two? Figure out what's available to you to carry out this plan, to what education you can get, what skills you can acquire, what resources are there. Think of those guys in that nuclear submarine. How did they put together that plan? And then put together your plan and execute it. Oh, just one more thought before I close this off. Is this actually going to qualify you for something? Are you going to actually be able to put on a resume, oh yes, I'm a skilled project manager because I put together this 3-course dinner? No, of course not. But it is a step. It is a stepping stone on the way to your success. Remember, you go back to some of my previous episodes. The the first few episodes, where I talked about where I came from and how I got here. This has been decades in my life that I've been pursuing these goals, and I didn't even know where I was going. I didn't know what the end result was going to be. I just knew I wanted a future. So take advantage of these little opportunities, because they will all build up into something big. You got this. This is your work, your success.